Hey guys, Jake here, and today I'm here with week 1 of NPL Minors, and week 1 we're going up against Turkey, coach of the Toronto Luxrays, and yeah, we're playing Turk week 1, and this is going to be a very good game. Turk is a very good player, and he also has a very threatening team to back it up, so yeah. I'll read over his team real quick, and it'll also be on your right. His team consists of Sheer Force Landersai, Thunderous T, which can use Z moves, Azumarill, Gudra, Mega Houndoom, Bronzong, Silvally, Z Aerodactyl, Mesprit, Breloom, and War Turtle. Now his team, I think he drafted pretty well, but his draft definitely does have some flaws, so I'm gonna hopefully try and exploit that. So the first mon he got is Landorus Eye, because he did have the first overall pick, and he has Landorus Eye, which I think isn't the biggest threat to my team. I do have some pretty decent ways of beating it, and I can check it in a couple of ways. So I'm not as scared of Landorus Eye as I am of other mons on his team. If I play too recklessly around it though and let my checks fall, it could definitely just sweep me late game with something like a rock polish up. So it could definitely be scary in that regard. He's also got the Thunderous T, which I think is probably the biggest threat to my team, just because it gets access to agility and focus blast, and it can run Z focus blast to blow something away like my Snorlax, and which will probably be my most likely answer. And it also has, like, after agility, it allows it to outspeed my whole team with ease. So stuff like my Garchomp and my Salazzle can't really revenge it as well. And he could also run stuff like a knockoff or U-turn to make it so something like a Spadef Meloetta isn't really a good check to it. So I also have to watch out for that. And yeah, he doesn't really need that much coverage to hit my whole team either. Something like Thunderbolt plus Focus Blast hits my whole team, so that could be very scary. Also, just Thunderbolt plus HP Ice for Garchomp hits my whole team as well. I think so. Something like a Dual Dance with Thunderbolt and HP Ice could definitely be extremely threatening. And yeah, he's also got the Azumarill. I'm not that scared of Azumarill. I do have one of the best switch-ins in the game to Azumarill and Quillfish on my team, which is very nice. But if I let my Quillfish get weakened too much, Azumarill can definitely be a big threat. But I do also have stuff like my Shaman and my Jirachi, which can kind of deal with it. But the annoying thing about Azumarill is it is a pretty good switch-in to Mega Gyarados, and it can check it at +1, so that's kind of annoying. Yeah, he's also got the Gudra. Gudra is kind of a nuisance to my team, because it can deal with my special attackers such as Salazzle pretty well, and it also walls stuff like my Rotom and my something like a fully special Meloetta. Something like a Curse Set could be threatening, because my only fairy type is Togekiss, and Togekiss honestly has pretty bad matchup versus his team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to not prep for Togekiss on his Gudra and run something like Curse, Rest Talk with Dragon Tail. That could be a huge threat to my team. So I definitely need to be on the lookout for that. He's also got the Mega Houndoom. I have two pretty good Mega Houndoom answers on my team. I have both Mega Gyarados and I have Snorlax, so I'm not too scared of Mega Houndoom. But if my team gets weakened and it's able to set up a nasty plot, it could be really scary. I could also see it running a tech like Super Fang to catch my Houndoom on the switch and weaken it. Could also run Will-O-Wisp to burn that stuff as well. So with the right set, Houndoom can definitely put in some work. It also outspeeds everything on my draft except for Salazzle, which is pretty scary. But yeah. Next up, he's got the Bronzong. Bronzong, I'm pretty sure he's bringing, and Bronzong is actually a huge nuisance to my team. It just walls a lot of stuff on my team. It walls Jirachi that doesn't have Shadow Ball. It walls Garchomp. It walls Garchomp's dual stabs. It walls Shaman. It can also beat Togekiss because Fire Blast won't do much to Spadef. It walls Snorlax unless it's like Banded Crunch. Salazzle can beat it, but there's a chance he also could be heat-proof as a Salazzle lure, so I definitely have to be careful for that. Walls Quillfish. Rotom can hit it pretty hard, so can Passimian. Meloetta is walled, but Ponyta and Gyarados can hit it pretty hard. But basically my point is Bronzong walls a lot of my team, and weakening it is going to be really annoying, especially because I saw stuff like I pop a berry to heal it a lot in mocks. So yeah, that could be pretty annoying. He's also got the Silvally. I really don't fear Silvally at all this game. I don't really see what it would do. I saw Silvally poison once on the mocks and absorb my Quillfish T-Spikes because he actually doesn't have a grounded poison on his draft. But other than that, I really don't see what Silvally would do this game. He's also got Z-Aerodactyl, which I think is probably the second biggest threat to my team, just because with the Z moves, it can really tear punch through my team. I'm also really not sure what Z move he could be. Could be something like Super Sky Strike, just because it hits my team overall pretty good. Could be Tectonic Rage to hit my Jirachi. Could be Continental Crush to just for strong rock stab. But yeah, overall I'm really not sure what it's gonna be. I'm leaning towards Flyonium Z to help him break past Shaman, but I'm really not sure. He's also got the Mesprit. Mesprit I'm not too scared of. I do have a Dark type that shuts down Mesprit pretty good. But it could be a decent check to stuff like Garchomp because it can kill it with Ice Beam, and it's just a pretty good rocker this game. Something like a Calm Mind Mesprit could be pretty scary if I play too passively around it, so I definitely gotta watch out for that. He's also got the Breloom. Breloom, I really wasn't sure what set it was gonna be. I was seeing a lot of sub Focus Punch and mocks to try and break past my counters. Even saw Bulk Up. Saw a few different sets, and I even saw just an overall bulky Breloom to beat Gyarados, just like Jolted in the GBA. But the difference between the GBA Mega Gyarados and my Mega Gyarados is that this Gyarados has to Mega Evolve first turn, making Breloom a better counter to this Mega Gyarados, which is quite annoying. But I can take a Mach Punch if need be. So yeah, and he's also got the War Turtle, which I honestly don't expect at all. So not too worried about War Turtle this game. And before I start talking about my team, I first want to give a shout out to a lot of the boys who helped me in my front office, mostly Mayo, AVP, Ace, Jack, Omega Jolteon, Bronson. They all helped a lot, and yeah, they were great help in my front office. So shout out to those guys. They're the GOAT. Yeah, so without further ado, let me get into my team. So first off, we've got my Shaman. I've got a pretty defensive Shaman this week, rocking the Kebby Berry with HPI Synthesis, Seed Flare, and Leech Seed. I've got a bit of speed just to make sure I outspeed any Adamant Breloom, which is very nice. So I can hit it outspeed and hit it with an HPI unless it goes for Mach Punch. I've got a lot of this Fizzbulk to help me take hits from overall a lot of his team. Basically stuff like Aerodactyl that's not Sky Strike, Azumarill's Play Roughs, and Breloom was a big thing. He doesn't really like switching into this mon that much, besides Sapsipper Grudra, because I can just Leech Seed pretty much most of his team because his only grass type is Breloom, which I put this Breloom on the set. I put the Shaman on here to help me deal with Breloom because Spore Breloom was being very annoying in mocks. But yeah, this thing could check a lot of his physical attackers pretty well. I've got the Kebby Berry to help me take a Sludge Wave from Thunderous T and Landorus Eye pretty well and do a lot of damage back. This special attack investment actually guarantees that I OHKO a naive or minus FF Landorus after rocks, which is very nice. Special attack also makes sure that I 2-hit KO a Thunder T after rocks, and yeah, overall special attack investment is pretty nice. I can also guaranteed 2-hit KO Breloom with HP Ice because of this, and yeah, pretty much anything that switches into Seed Flare plus HP Ice, I can Leech Seed, start to wear down, and then switch accordingly. Something like the Bronzong, for example, can kind of wall me, but I can Leech Seed, wear the thing down, and just kind of switch into whatever I want. And so yeah, this is a very nice mod in this game. Next up, I've actually got my Garchomp. My Garchomp is a Dragon MZ 3 attacks rock set this week, rocking Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Crunch, and rocks. So Earthquake and Dragon Claw hit everything on his team except for Bronzong, which I have Crunch for. Crunch won't be doing a whole lot, but I can still shift down the Bronzong, which is a big part of this game plan. Try and weaken that Bronzong early for the rest of my team to do work. I've got the Dragon MZ because Dragon MZ helps me Oko stuff like Thunderous T and Landorus Eye after rocks, which I both naturally outspeed because I hit the same speed tier. Then can also kind of take a hit from Houndoom if need be. Also take a Sky Strike from Aerodactyl. Outspeeds Breloom, which is pretty nice, and can take Mach Punch as well. Overall, just hits his whole team pretty hard. So if I play this right, this mod will definitely put in a lot of work. So yeah. Next up, I have got my Snorlax. My Snorlax is a Curse-Lax set this week, rocking leftovers. Thick Fats help me take Fire Blast and stuff from Houndoom with Curse, Rest, Sleep Talk, and Return. Mono Normal hits his whole team, apart from a potential Silvally Ghost, which I could see happening. Someone actually beat me in a mock with that. I think that was Illusion, so that was a nice bring. But yeah. Overall, this mon actually can take special hits from his team pretty well. Something like a Thunderous T that I know doesn't have Nasty Plot just can't break my Snorlax because if I rest at the right time. This eats Houndoom's hits for breakfast. With the curse up, it's pretty hard for him to revenge because even Breloom's hits won't be doing that much, and both his physical breakers that would break this, something like Azumarill and Breloom. If I don't have curse up, I can both check with my Shaman and my Quillfish, which I will show later. So that's pretty nice. Rest is for because I'm definitely expecting him to try and status me with some mons. Stuff like Bronzong, I think will definitely have Toxic. Same with even stuff like Goodra, maybe even Houndoom, which could have Will-O-Wisp. And yeah, I'm definitely expecting Toxic on a lot of stuff. So yeah. Overall, this mod is pretty good. This mod can potentially be a win con if I set up enough, and I've gotten the information on stuff like Breloom, and I've figured out what set it is. So yeah, very nice mod in this game. Helps me deal with Houndoom. So yeah. And next up, I've got a great mod in this game. Physically defensive Quillfish, rocking Toxic Spikes, Poison Jab, Aqua Jet, and Explosion. Now, this mod is here. Basically, it deals with his physical attackers very well. Walls Azumarill, can pivot into Breloom and get an Intimidate. I do have to be wary switching this thing in on Breloom though, because he could go for a potential Spore. But if he knows I have the Shaman in the back and I think he's gonna go for a fighting move, I can always maybe position to my Quillfish and get an Intimidate off and then switch later. Also deals with Aerodactyl pretty well. Eats up Sky Strikes. I can even take the Tectonic Rage if need be, and pretty nice set overall this game. I have a bit of a physical attack investment as well to do more damage with my physical attacks, because I actually do have this Explosion, which is very nice just in case he has Thundian on me, and I can't allow him to set up, and I'm willing to sack off my Quillfish. I can go for the Explosion, and I actually Oko him after rocks, so, and that's why I have this. That's why I have this attack investment. I think this attack investment is actually guaranteed Aqua Jet into Explosion kills Thundy T. So in case he tries to set up both an Agility and a Nasty Plot on me, I can Aqua Jet the first turn, then Explode on the following turn if he tries to set up twice, which is very nice. Toxic Spikes hit his team pretty well. They hit stuff like Azumarill, Goodra, Houndoom, Silvally, Breloom, unless it's Poison Heal. Which is pretty nice. I could have opted for Spikes, but I honestly didn't think it hit his team that well. Poison Jab, actually 2 KOs Bulky Azumarill, because Quillfish has a pretty good physical attack stat, so that is very nice. And yeah, Next up I have my Salazzle. This is a very nice game. Air Balloon Salazzle, rocking Sludge Wave, Fire Blast, Toxic, and Encore. Air Balloon allows me to give me a really good pivot into Land or Psy, because if you look at my team before, team kind of struggles with Land or Psy because Snorlax isn't a switch in, because he could definitely run something like Life Orb, Focus Blast into a KO me. I 100% expecting him to have Focus Blast on his Land or Psy because it allows him to OHKO Mega Gyarados as well as 2 KO Snorlax, because regular Earth Power actually doesn't OHKO or 2 KO Snorlax because Snorlax is insane. But yeah, this gives me a pretty good Land OI pivot, because I don't think he's gonna run like Psychic or Rock Slide or anything on his Lando. It just doesn't make much sense. I can hit it very hard with Fire Blast, and I also outspeed Houndoom. My dual stabs hit his team pretty well. I outspeed everything on his team except for Aerodactyl. I have Toxic, so I can Toxic the Goodra and weaken that down. And from my last move, I really wasn't sure, but I knew that I didn't really see myself sweeping with this thing, so I did not for Nasty Plot. I actually went for Encore, just in case Cursed Goodra started to give me trouble. I can catch him on a turn where he went for Rest or something like that, and I can Encore him into that, and then capitalize that on something with my Garchomp. So yeah, pretty nice month's game. Gives me a pivot into Land OI, which is very important. And yeah, overall outspeeds this whole team. I'm just speed creeping Mega Houndoom with this. Gives me something to outspeed with Houndoom, which is pretty important. But yeah, last but not least, I have my DD Mega Gyarados rocking Dragon Dance, Crunch, Waterfall, and Double Edge. Double Edge is so it gives me a way of hitting the Breloom and the Azumarill neutrally. Adamant Double Edge at +1 does like 880 min to an Azumarill that doesn't have much bulk, which is very nice. And I can even hopefully try and get in range with stuff like the I thought I had Rocky Helmet on my Goldfish, but stuff like Toxic Spikes or Rocks can get this in range, and can get the Azumarill in range of my Double Edge, so that's very nice. Breloom also drops to +1 Double Edge, and it can't OHKO me with Mach Punch. This thing also has Intimidate before it Mega Evolves, which is nice, so I can intimidate something like the Aerodactyl if need be. And I really wasn't sure if I should run Scarf Meloetta or Gyarados in this slot. Basically, when I looked over my team, I realized so much of it struggles against Bronzong, and I wanted something that completely shut down Bronzong and capitalized on it, and that is what my DD Gyarados is here to do. Pressures Bronzong very well. I can set up on it with ease, Dragon Dance, do a ton of damage with Crunch, and overall be in a very good spot versus the Bronzong. So yeah, there's my team. I'll be right back with the battle. Alright, here we are with a match versus Turk, and as you can see, he decided to bring a team of Landorus, Bronzong, Goodra, Azumarill, Thundurus T, and Breloom. So pretty much what I expected. I'm kind of very relieved to not see the Aerodactyl, because that could have been a huge threat to my team if I let my stuff get weakened too much, because it also outspent my whole team, and I was extremely scared of it. But yeah, I'm definitely glad he brought something like Goodra over Aerodactyl, because I'm not that scared of Goodra. Yeah, overall, I'm feeling pretty confident going into this game. But I see a Thundy T, and that means I want to get up Rocks, because Rocks are overall really nice for dealing with the Thundurus T. Puts him in range of my Quillfish Explosion. Make sure Shaman to it KOs it with HP Ice. Make sure stuff like Gyarados, but can kill it with a Crunch guaranteed. Same with Salazzle with Fire Blast. So yeah, I figured I wanted to get up Rocks quick, because his only potential removal is Defog from DT and Defog Landorus, both of which I don't see running Defog this game. So I decided to just lead off with my Garchomp, as he decides to lead off with it Bronzong, and I accidentally put music on it. Good thing I put that off. Wait, so yeah, I decided to lead off with Garchomp as he leads off with his Bronzong, and I figured we're probably both going to exchange rocks here, and I thought that's fine. Rocks are pretty annoying to my team. They're also good for his team. I can't really prevent rocks at all. So I just click rocks here as he decides to go for his rocks of his own. Now here I thought about this play for a while, and I actually make a huge misplay turn 1. So here I'm thinking I could go for a crunch versus this Bronzong and get a pretty good damage on it. I know there's a decent chance he could be Colberberry, but I still want to get some chip on it, weaken it for stuff like Shaman and Snorlax, and just thought it would be overall pretty nice. And I figured I don't need my Garchomp that healthy. I can take stuff like a Gyro Ball and Hidden Power Ice, and it'll do like 50 max. So I figured, because I'll still be relatively healthy and able to take stuff like Azumarill, Aqua Jet, and Breloom, Mach Punch later on, I figured it's okay if I just crunch, risk taking a bit of health on Garchomp. But instead, I should have gone to something like my Shaman that could have leech seeded this, and just could have kept my Chomp healthy for stuff like Thunder Tea, Lando, Gudra as well. Because as you're gonna see, I'm gonna go for the crunch as he has the Cold Berry, and that does 20. As he goes for the Hidden Power Ice, and I get the crit. Now that crit sucks a lot because now I am in guaranteed range of Mach Punch from Breloom as well as Aqua Jet from Azumarill. Now, but yeah, that's pretty unfortunate that I'm now in range of all of his priority. I still want to preserve my Garchomp though, because it can like nuke the Gudra, hit the Lando Eye pretty hard. Maybe even get another crunch on this later on. Now that I popped his Colberberry, which is pretty nice for my Gyarados as well. But because I did get the defense drop, at least I'm actually gonna go into my Snorlax because I know there's nothing Bronzong can really do to me. Here I don't want to set up a curse just yet, because I realize there's a pretty good chance that he might try and pull an offensive switch here into something like Landorus maybe, or even Breloom. So or something like a Banded Azumarill. Banded Azumarill is superpowered. And because he got the defense drop, I decided I'm just gonna figure off a nice return. It's gonna do some nice chip damage to anything he wants to go into. And if he stays in with this Bronzong, I'm weakening it to get it in range of stuff like my Shaman's Leech Seed plus 2 Seed Flares, and just overall nice chip. So I decided to go straight for the return, as he does a decent amount. As he actually goes for the heal block, which is a pretty nice tech. I actually did kind of expect this, because I expected him to have some kind of tech on Bronzong to stop it from being complete setup fodder for my Snorlax. But yeah, good bring on Turk's part. Now I can't like get lefties or rest up. But I'm still gonna stay in and click return because Bronzong can't really do that much damage to me at all. Gyro Ball or Heavy Slam will be doing pitiful damage, and I can just weaken this thing back. So I go for the return again as he actually goes hard into Azumarill, and this return is going to do absolutely nothing. That does 25, and that reveals that he's actually max HP, max Fizz Def with probably a with an attack lowering nature, or I mean with a defense raising nature. Sorry. So this means he is definitely defensive. It also means he's probably Seed Flare, or probably Sap Sipper to wall my Shaman, and he's probably the Parastrap set with Whirlpool, because that is actually compatible because of the gold silver on Virtual Console. Because of that damage, I definitely expect him to be Parastrap with Whirlpool and Sap Sipper. And regardless of seeing that damage, I'm still gonna go into my Quillfish, my dedicated counter on this turn, just because I know that I can still 2-hit KO him with Poison Jab and maybe even get a T-Spike. So I'm gonna go straight for that. As he decides to go for the Whirlpool, and I'm trapped, but that's fine because I know I can go for the Poison Jab and 2-hit KO him, and which is very nice, as I don't really want to get a T-Spike here. I just want to kill this Azumarill as soon as possible, because I still want to keep my Quillfish around for the Breloom if need be. So that's why I'm prioritizing trying to kill the Azumarill instead of going for a Toxic Spike. And it also still could be Poison Heal Breloom, and poisoning that for him could be pretty annoying if he's not like Toxic Orb. So, but yeah, I just go for the Poison Jab as he goes straight into his Landorus Eye, as I get the poison with Poison Jab, which is pretty unfortunate for Turk, because now I'll be getting that chip, but it's pretty nice for me. I force out the Azumarill, and now I get the Landorus to take a bit of chip. After a round of poison, it'll be in range of a lot of stuff for my team. Now, so it's Landorus versus Quillfish, and if you look at my team, I'm positive he's gonna go for an Earth Power here. No point in him trying to predict, because Earth Power into Focus Blast will kill my Snorlax, and if I went into my Gyarados, he could just Focus Blast me on the next turn and kill me. So I thought Earth Power was definitely his play here. Even if we went for something like a Rock Polish, I'd be fine because I do have my Air Balloon Salazzle, which I can switch into right now and eat up this Earth Power. I would be fine even if he rock polished because he wouldn't be able to touch me on the next turn. But here on this turn, I'm 100% expecting him to try and preserve his Lando Eye. It's good for a lot of my team. Good for him breaking my Snorlax. Oko's my Gyarados. Breaks my Quillfish very well. So I am definitely expecting him to try and preserve this. And he has a very good switch into my Salazzle in the Gudra, so I'm going to make kind of an aggressive play and go for the Toxic on this turn. Trying to predict the Gudra, and getting that thing Toxic is very nice for whittling it down. So I go for the Toxic on this turn as he goes straight into his Gudra, which is great. Here in this turn we see Leftovers, and the first thought that came to my mind was this could be Curse with Mono Dragon Tail. And because of that, I decide I don't really need this Salazzle as more, because after Rocks and another round of poison, the Landorus Eye is actually in range of Aqua Jet from my Quillfish, which is great. And I don't want him to be Cursed Dragon Tail, so what I'm actually going to do is stay on Sludge Wave on this turn, so on the next turn, so if he did want to go for a Curse, I can Encore him and be in a good spot. I feel like if he had Curse, here would be where we would go for it, so because he could rest up later, and it would be good in case I wanted to make an aggressive switch into something like Garchomp predicting the Curse, so or predicting like Earthquake or something. So or not Earthquake. Yeah, I don't know why I would go Garchomp. I'm just being nonsense at this point, but basically I still do think that if he had Curse, here's why we would go for it, because he can rest up on pretty much anything else. So yeah, I stay in here in Sludge Wave on this turn because I can get some chip, and I just don't want him cursing up, so I can Sludge Wave, and that does very little even with the crit. A crit has been unfortunate, but he Dragon Tails me, and I actually go into my Shaman, and so here on this turn, based on that damage, I know he's kind of like a mixed defensive. Gudra probably he's probably maxed HP and is a decent amount of SPDF, but so I know HP Ice would be doing very little to this Gudra, but I still want to go for it because HP Ice puts him in range of 2 more turns of Toxic, and then on the next turn he will hopefully die to Toxic, and I can Synthesis up and have a pretty healthy Shaman. I'm fine if he switches out as well. So yeah, I just go for the Hidden Power Ice here, as that does nothing, but he goes for the Draco Meteor, and I eat that because Shaman is a god, and because of the HP Ice play, I will be able to Synthesis up on the next turn as he goes for the Toxic and dies to Poison, and I don't care about the Toxic because I do indeed have Natural Cure. But yeah, here he goes out into a Azumarill, and I definitely want to preserve this Shaman just because of how good it is for the rest of his team. It's good to take a Sludge Wave from Lando, good for Breloom as well, and I can Leaf Seed Bronzong and stuff, so I'm just going to go hard into my Quillfish again because I can't do a KO this Azumarill with Poison Jab. I don't care if he goes for Whirlpool. My Quillfish is somewhat expendable because I know this Azumarill set. So here I'm just going to go for the Poison Jab, and I get a crit crit and a poison here, but I don't really think it matters because I would have 2 KO'd the Azumarill anyway. He goes for Perish Song, which I do not mind because I will just kill him on the next turn with Poison Jab. And now he goes out into his Thunderous Tea, and here I thought a lot about this turn. So he could definitely be an Agility Thunderous, and he could be trying to go for game here. I honestly don't know, because I'm pretty sure I revealed leftovers on my Snorlax, not Choco Berry. My Garchomp is very low, and my Shaman is shipped a bit as well. So I'm thinking he could try and lead Double Dance and going for it right now. And I figured I do have my Shaman in the back for the Breloom, and my Coolfish isn't really good for much else besides the Breloom at this point because I did kill the Azumarill. And so I decided I'm just gonna go for the Explosion on this turn, just in case he wanted to try and set up on me. I will OHKO the Thunderous. But as you're gonna see, he actually goes for the Volt Switch and just kills me. But that's not too bad because I didn't really need my Coolfish, and I also probably know that the Thunderous is now Scarfed, meaning my Snorlax will probably beats it 1v1 because Scarf Focus Blast do very little. But here he goes out into his Breloom. Now, here my only play is to go into Shaman because Salazzle dies to something like Life Orb or Banded Mach Punch, and I don't want it, and I want to keep it around as potential death fodder or something to kind of hit off on the Landorus or the Bronzong. So I got into my Shaman here because there's a good chance I outspeed it and I can 2KO him within Power Ice. And so I do just that, and I go for the HP Ice. That does a lot, and he actually goes for the Super Power, and that does a ton, but Shaman lives on 3, and that damage actually reveals that he's an Adamant Choice Banded Breloom. I outsped the Breloom with my Thunderous with my Shaman, which is pretty big, because now in the next turn, because of the attack drop, I will be able to Synthesis up, and because -1 Banded Adamant Superpower is doing 50 max, and I can get healthy, because this is where I realize I need the Shaman healthy to help me beat the Bandit Breloom later on in the match, because Banded Mach Punch is looking very scary, because I am forced to Mega Evolve my Mega Gyarados turn 1. I can't stay in regular form, which is pretty unfortunate, but yeah. I want to get healthy too because I might need this to take a hit later on. So he goes. So I go for the Synthesis as he goes into his Landorus. As I go for the Synthesis, I am able to take 1 Banded Mach Punch after rocks at this amount of HP. So that is very nice. But because I do need the Shaman around, that means I can't keep it in versus the Lando here, even though he is. Even though I am Kevia HP Ice, I decided to sack off my Salazzle here. It was a long debate I thought long about what I wanted to sack here, but I decided to sack off my Salazzle because I knew that I will be able to go into my Garchomp the next turn and outspeed it, and I considered sacking off Salazzle or Garchomp instead of Salazzle, but I realized Garchomp is nice because one, I can get rough skin damage off on the Breloom if need be, and two, it can be nice in case I ever need to prevent the Scarf Thunderous from just locking itself into Thunderbolt and winning, or even something like a mixed Wild Charge, which probably do a pretty good amount to my Snorlax. And I know Shaman can stop Thunderous from locking into Electric move, but I need this thing as healthy as possible to help me deal with Breloom, because here I ran the calcs and Breloom's Banded Mach Punch does 38% max, so I need to keep my Shaman higher than that if I want any chance to beat Breloom at this point. One thing I also do have in the back though is my Gyarados' Intimidate, which could also turn in clutch. That's actually why I decided to not sack off my Gyarados, because of the Intimidate, and I haven't Mega Evolved yet. But yeah, here I decide to sack off my Salazzle, just so I can go into my Garchomp following turn. Sorry for that break, guys, but here I am back. I just killed the Landorus with my Garchomp's Dragon Claw. So it goes down to his Scarf Thunderous, and I decided to sack off my Garchomp here. I don't really need it, as he just goes for Hidden Power Ice with the Thunderous. Now, I know he's Scarf and locked into Hidden Power Ice, so I can just go into my Snorlax, fire off a return. I go for the return just in case he wanted to pull a Wild Switch into his Breloom, predicting my curse or something. So I tried to hit me with Banded Superpower. But yeah, here I decided I'm just gonna fire off returns. I don't need Curse to win, and I just don't want Breloom getting a free switch in. So I just fire off a return, as he actually pulls a double into his Thunderous. I guess predicting the curse and trying to hit me with Focus Blast. But here he goes out into his Breloom, and I decide to sack off my Snorlax because now I know I can guaranteed win with my Gyarados plus Breloom, because Gyarados outspeeds the Breloom guaranteed, because my Gyarados is actually faster than my Shaman, and my Shaman outspeed the Breloom. So if he goes for Superpower, I can outspeed that and just kill it with Crunch, and Mach Punch cannot kill my Shaman. So I know I'm in a very good spot right now. I just sack off my Snorlax as I go into my Gyarados. I will outspeed this Breloom, and I just fire off a Crunch. Unfortunately I have to Mega Evolve, but he does just sack off his Bronzong, and I kill that with a Crunch. And now he goes into his Breloom, kills me with Mach Punch, and because I kept my Shaman healthy enough, I will be able to eat the Banded Mach Punch on 8 HP and kill the Breloom with a Hidden Power Ice. So that was a very good game. We win 1-0 by 8%. Very good game to Turk. The Banded Breloom really was threatening late game, but Shaman is god. So we were able to pull out the dub this week. But yeah, GG to Turk. Make sure you check him out. He uploads good content, and yeah. See you guys next time. Peace.